All right, we're going to deal with circles today. Your assignment is called Module 1 Introduction. And the first question is going to ask you about different parts of a circle. So, I have A, B, C, D, and E. And I wanted to know what is a radius. So if this is the center of the circle, let's call that F, then FE is a radius. Similarly, CF, or you could also call it FC, and FD are all radii. That is a segment that connects the edge of a circle to its center. And then a diameter would be a segment that connects one side of a circle to another and hits the center. And a diameter is always exactly twice as long as a radius. And then this other segment over here is called a chord. Don't say chord, a chord. So a chord goes from edge to edge on a circle, but it does not hit the center. So we do not call a diameter a chord. So if it hits the center, it's a diameter. If it doesn't, then it's a chord. And then it might ask you something like, if CD, the length of CD is 10, what is the length of FE? And CD is a radius, and a diameter, and FE is a radius, so we would just take 10 and divide it by 2. Okay. What if I had a circle with a diameter equal to 16? And I wanted to know the area and the circumference. You've probably seen these problems before. The area formula is A equals pi, let's put a unit on this, like 16 inches. Pi r squared, and circumference, the formula is C equals 2 pi r. Now, how do you remember those? Well, circumference is just going to be the distance if we walk around the circle. And then, so this could be in like, let's say it was 20 feet. Well, the area is going to be the amount of space taken up if we divide this into squares and we count up all of the squares. So this, let's find the circumference. So here r is going to be 8. So 2 pi times 8. Now there are two ways to write this. We could either say 16 pi inches, or we could use our calculator and do 16 times pi, and we get 50 point, it doesn't want us to use pi. It's always going to want us to do 3.14. So 2 times 3.14 times 8, 50.24. So 50.24 inches. So if you know the radius, you're just going to plug it into this formula, and the answer is just going to be in inches. But if we do an area formula, so pi times 8 squared, there are two versions of that answer. Either 64 pi inches squared, or we could plug that in our calculator. 64 times 3.14 is 296. 200.96. 200.96 inches squared. So how do you remember the formula? Well, area is asking us to count up all of these squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we're just counting up squares. And so that formula has to have the square in it. So anytime you're giving an area answer, your units have to be raised to the second power. And that's a good way to remember which formula is which. The one where you're counting up squares is the only one that has a square in the formula. And then here, we're just walking a distance. How far is it to walk all the way around the circle? So we just plug in pi, or we plug in 8, and we get 2 times pi times 8. And sometimes it's going to ask you for the answer with pi. So sometimes it wants this answer, and sometimes it wants that answer. And every time in ALEKS, you're just going to use 3.14 for pi instead of the pi button on your calculator. Okay, well, it does get a little bit trickier. So area equals 2, no, that's not right, pi r squared, and circumference equals 2 pi r. So what if I give you a circle and I tell you that the area is equal to 500 meters squared? How do we calculate the area? Or sorry, how do we calculate the radius? So I want to know how far is it from there to there. So I'm going to put 500 in here. Okay. So 500 equals, let's do 3.14 times r squared. Now I just want to solve for r. So I divide by 3.14, divide by 3.14. So 500 divided by 3.14. And I get 159.24. So 159.24 is equal to r squared. And now I just take the square root. So the square root of the answer is 12.62. Does that make sense? Okay. So here the radius is 12.62. Now if it wanted to know the diameter, all you have to do is double that. Okay. Well, what is, let's do a new problem. Suppose I had a circle whose circumference was 54 miles. What is the diameter? Well, circumference is 2 times 3.14 times r. So I'm going to plug 54 in there. So 54 equals 2 times 3.14 times r. Now, I need to move the 2 over and I need to move the 3.14. You have several options. You could divide by 2, which gives us 27, and then divide by 3.14, which will give us r. Let's see what that is. 27 divided by 3.14 is 8.59. So here we get r equals 8.59. Or we could put these together and get 6.28 r, and then divide by 6.28. So if I take 54 and divide it by 6.28, I'm going to get the exact same number. So it doesn't matter. You can put these together and then do the division, or you can divide them one at a time. It's not going to make a difference. Okay. So is that what I wanted? Am I looking for the radius? No. I want to know the diameter. So I know that the distance from here to here is now 8.59. What is the distance from here to here? We're just going to double that. Okay. Do I have, let me pull this over. Sorry. So we've covered, there are 7 different types of problems in this assignment, and we've covered all of them but this one. So here we have a rose garden. It has a rectangle with a half a circle in one side. So this is 22, which means this is also 22. And if this is 17, that means that the radius of that circle is going to be 8.5. So how far is it from here to here? Well, it's going to be half of a circumference. So the circumference of that circle is 2 times 3.14 times 8.5. Let's calculate that. So 2 times 3.14 times 8.5. So the entire circumference of that circle is 53.38. But how much of the circle is included in the perimeter of my shape? Half. So I will divide that by 2. So that is the curved piece, and then I have to add 22 and add 22 and then add 17. So the full perimeter is 87.69. Okay? Now those problems will change. Sometimes instead of one curved edge, you have two curved edges. Or sometimes you'll have something that looks like this. But the idea is you add all of these pieces together, and this piece is based off of a circle. And then you can just figure out, is it a whole circle, is it a half circle, is it a quarter circle, whatever, and then put it all together. Okay, that's it. The assignment today is called Module 5 Introduction. Get to work.